This is Morten from Inkish. We are here at the Connect in Las Vegas. And one thing is that you meet good old friends. Another thing is that you also meet new people that maybe become friends. And yesterday at lunch, I was so fortunate to sit in a group of people where it was actually 4 people that now work in some printing companies, but they were all ex-employees with either EFI, EPS, or whatever the name of the company now is.
Right.
So Larry, from Drummond,
Yes.
commercial printing company, 6 locations or something like that, right?
Yes. 6 locations, 3 states.
3 states. So basically, when we talk workflow in a company that has more sites, it's not just a matter of how to make operation in one place. That is like on multiple sites, right?
Exactly. Yes. So we're trying to smooth it out through all of the organizations and be able to share information and improve flow from A to Z. So,
I don't think it's a secret, but if you look at the printing industry, it moves at a rapid pace when it comes to technology and customers' turnaround time, all these kinds of things. When you look at the software side of it, does it follow up on all those things? Or?
And sometimes yes, and sometimes no. Sometimes it leads, and sometimes it drags, right? So, and then also the adoption process, right? So, if you have a lot of stuff in place, sometimes it takes you longer to adopt because you have a lot that you're going to impact, and you have to make sure that you're doing it in such a manner where it doesn't disrupt workflow.
So the software could actually be leading, but then you have an organization that maybe drags a little bit and needs to get up to space.
Yes, or vice versa.
Vice versa. So when you come, as you said, you've been here many times. Actually, you should be awarded some kind of being
no,
here so
I don't
many
think
times,
that.
right? No.
There's people that have been here a lot more times than I have.
Okay,
So.
but you said it's almost like family, right?
Yeah, so there's a number of people that I just look forward to seeing when I get to come to Connect. You're just hoping that you see them on the registration or whatever. So yeah, there's just a lot of people I look forward to being able to break bread with, have a drink with, and enjoy some time. So
when you work with workflow as your daily work, I mean, is there anything you can learn here, or is it more to just be sure that you haven't forgotten or lost anything? Or
it's more about so not everything's perfect. So there's systems there's processes that have flaws. So it's how do I work around that? How can I learn some new things? What are the new features that are there? But then also how can I potentially solve some problems I can't seem to get past. So, and then a lot of it's learning from the people who are teaching in the sessions, but a lot of it's just talking to other users and see what they've done. And that's where, part of the user group, because that's something I'm heavily involved with for the PACE user group. And it's being able to share that knowledge back and forth, leave a nickel, take a nickel kind of thing. So it's really nice.
And I believe that when I asked you before how software follows up with all the changes in the industry, I mean, one thing is the people, one thing is the software, one thing is the hardware and the market. All these things, of course, have to be, come together at some point, right? Is that also something that you learn from here? Because, I mean, software, of course, it develops rapidly, but it's also a matter that you have employees in your organization that are, let's say, a little bit old and stubborn, and then you have the ones that are always on the forefront of things. I mean, how do you do the internal kind of education and rollout of updates and things like that?
A good question. So what was really nice back in the earlier days, I guess, when we'd come to Connect.
You were just about to say old days, right?
Right, exactly. So EFI, when EFI had the organization, they were very focused on verticals. So they were focused on from the order procurement all the way to delivery of product, right? So they had print devices, they had RIPs, they had the whole MIS ecosystem and workflow. And so with that, you were able to see it from A to Z, right? So you were able to see that whole process. So now, as the company has kind of been slightly, modified and split up and whatnot, you're not quite seeing that when you come here as readily, right? There's still a lot of discussion about it, but you're not seeing it. So I tend to be a very visual person. I like to see the process from A to Z.
But one thing they have done here, I noticed that in these tables that you have in the big, it seems that they have been more tailored to, instead of being to one software, it is more like the different processes through I guess that helps you a little bit also talking to the right specialist, right?
Yeah, so that's always been the case, but the way that they're laying out the tables are a little different for sure. But being able to go and know where that SME is going to be, that subject matter expert is going to be, is much easier to find while you're here now, I guess. So
when you look at the industry with all the changes, where is the biggest challenge from a software perspective?
I think AI, because I think we're in some ways maybe overestimating what it can do, and then us underestimating what it can do simultaneously, right? Which is what happens with any new technology, right? So it's just how to incorporate that and how to leverage that. So I think that's the biggest what if right now, or if how that's going to happen. So.
It's funny because at lunch yesterday when we were sitting and talking, it was also because some of the things that are rarely addressed at the conference like this is that AI is a buzzword right now, but it also, what about the security? What about where does it learn from, and how are data protected, right? Because it is customer confidential data that you're often, especially if you're in the finance or healthcare, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah. Because you got to be SOC compliant, HIPAA compliant. Yeah. So for all of that, we got to figure out where can we plug that in without risking somebody being able to access data and get in there. So yeah.
I mean, how do you as working in workflow in a company like yours? I mean, how do you secure that? Because I mean, if you look at Apple, I know that's a consumer product, but they look at it on premises AI, right, or on device AI. If you look at most AIs today, they are actually very dependent on large server farms that can process all the data. And the moment you have data that goes out and in, right, that is a potential risk, right?
Oh, it absolutely is. So, and we're still navigating that. We're still trying to figure out what we need to do to make sure that we can keep everything secure, but then still get the advantage that comes with using AI. So,
and what about, because I mean,
it's a balancing act.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, because we as a media, we also use AI all the time, and I can see that as a small media, we probably spend around $1,500, $2,000 a month just on services, on AI services, right? Is this also something that you're concerned about, because you do so many things, and it's a little bit difficult from time to time to actually estimate the actual cost of AI, because the more you use it, the more expensive it becomes, right?
Exactly, yeah, as with anything, right? So, and then where am I going to get savings, or where am I going to get that return on investment, right? So all of that still needs to be fleshed out. I think it's just way too early to understand what the implications are going to be, and what the benefits are going to be, and where we're going to be able to find our savings. So, but it's exciting.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't think that anybody here should be against AI and the development you see, but you're right. I think it's healthy to ask questions, right?
Right. Oh yeah, for sure.
Fantastic. Good to see you. Thank you very much.
I think this is a friendship. So,
I hope so. Thank you.
All right, bud.